Hello and welcome back to Helsinki. Now this is going to be one of my travel diary videos and it's race day. Now this first video here is me sitting inside a NASCAR. The gentleman next to me is my driver, the GoPro is all set up and it's going to record me as I zoom around this track. Now you can't actually see what's going on outside, but basically I'm looking as we follow the route around. I'm trying to get the lay of the track, so when I actually drive on it later by myself, I know roughly what speeds I can do, how to approach the corners, and totally not crash my vehicle. Now I'm actually quite concerned because we were told that if we break these cars, we have to pay for these cars. So for me it was quite daunting, and I was very concerned about having to pay lots of money to repair a car that I just don't have. Now, because of this, I actually drove much slower than I might have wanted to. Now, there's another factor involved here. Now, for a start, okay, I'm from the UK, and for me in the UK, where I'm sitting now is the driver's seat, and everything is set up completely differently than the way I'm used to driving in a car. Now, okay, I live in Japan, but Japan is exactly the same as the UK. We drive on the correct side of the road, the driver's seat is in the correct place, all the pedals and the speedometer, the gearbox, everything is in the right place. Now, with Japan, okay, it's very different than, say, Europe and the UK. Most cars in Japan are actually automatic. So you don't have to keep changing gears, it does it for you. So it's been many years since I've actually used or driven a manual car, except when I've been on holiday. And even then in Japan, okay, mostly it's automatic. So for me, even though I really was looking forward to this, I was still very apprehensive. But I'll say one thing, I did enjoy this. I really loved this whole day's activities. One, being driven around. Now this is the first time this guy's actually driven on the track today. He's not their regular driver, I understand. He's a backup for today's event because the original driver was not available at the time. So this is my first time meeting him. I'm basically his warm-up passenger, so we're testing the car. Now, luckily, there were no problems for us, which is more than I can say for my colleague later when the car actually broke down. Now, I have a feeling that has something to do with the oil, because there was a lot of oil on the actual ground after the car had driven away, and I noticed this later. Still, one thing that I found really interesting about this car. Now, the doors itself, okay, they don't actually open. It's literally like a whole framework is just molded. The only way to get in and out of this car is through the windows, and that can be a bit of a tight squeeze, especially considering that my size is quite large. I'm 6 feet 2 inches, and my weight is a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm not as wide or chunky as the driver, but he seems to be able to get into the car much more smoothly than I was able to. The seatbelt itself was a really strange feeling. It's not like the normal seatbelts in a regular car where it just goes across your shoulder and then across your waist. This is more like a harness, so it goes over the shoulders, clips into this kind of like round buckle in the center, and then again there's two more straps that come off. So in many ways it actually felt much more comfortable. Okay, yes, it cut in a little bit more into my chest than I would have liked, but it seemed to feel much safer. Also the fact that I'm a passenger inside a car with a crash helmet on. Now, I'm in a car and I'm wearing a crash helmet. This is not a motorbike. It's a really strange feeling. Okay, it feels very tight, it feels very claustrophobic. It's really challenging to breathe. And in some ways I kind of wish I had the driver's helmet. His actual face piece is open, so it looked like his helmet was much more comfortable for him. Now maybe the kind of helmet I've got is designed to protect the passengers a little bit more in case we do crash and it ends up exploding more into my face. I don't know, but it didn't feel that comfortable. Okay, now at the moment I've got my legs out in front of me. Okay, I'm quite tall, so you can see that my knees are actually high up in the air because I've actually got my feet on a foot plate. My hands I'm keeping to the center. Now, just off to the side there, the actual car's quite warm, and the heat from the engine and maybe the exhaust pipe seems to be running maybe down the side, it felt like, was warming the car up. So you really got warm inside this car. and all I'm wearing is literally like this bodysuit and my underwear and a t-shirt underneath. The jeans I'd taken off just because it was just too hot for me. Even my shirt I'd left inside the caravan itself. And I'm kind of glad that they did advise me to do this, because it made it feel much more comfortable. Now we're getting very close to my time expiring. We're now basically on the approach road back to the actual starting point. So my turn is over, and it's the next person to be driven around in the NASCAR. Now I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was an awesome ride, and I really wish I could do it again. Okay, right, in a second I'm going to change the video, and you're going to be watching some of the other activities that were partaken by other members. Now I actually didn't do all of these activities, so as an example, while we're doing the NASCAR, some of the guys are actually riding on the back of motorbikes. Now for myself, I'd rather not ride on the back of a motorbike. I've had the wrong kind of experiences in the past, and it's just not something I feel really comfortable with, so I declined this. Now I did enjoy the presentation that they gave for the riders, but there's no way I'm sitting on the back of that bike. Now the NASCAR, thoroughly enjoyable. I really liked what I was doing, and I really wish I could do this again and again and again. The driver, thank you very much, sir. You are total sport. Now watch as I try to get out here. Oh my god, isn't that so challenging? It's really difficult. But let's thank the driver. So hand back in and shake his hand. Thanks very much, sir. You are a sport. Okay, right, now they need to get ready for the next person, and we're going to look at the back of someone's bum here as they go around the racetrack on the motorbike. Now I'm not going to show you everybody's backside here, and I'm afraid I can't see the front of the actual road from this position either. So the GoPro is on the back of the bike, but you get a really good glimpse of the angles and how close they are actually riding to the ground when they go around the corners. Just look at that. Oh my god, it's almost like they're laying down flat on the bike. Now, the actual rider himself is a professional, and he gave a really interesting speech to everybody about how to sit on the back of these bikes. Now, when he goes around the corners, you've got to give him some leg space, so you need to move your leg out a bit. He will go faster if he thinks that you feel comfortable, or maybe he will slow it down again if you feel uncomfortable. And basically he's taking you straight around this track at excessive speed, and oh my god, was it fun to watch. Okay, now this person's about to get off. They've had their turn, and there you can see the rider just in the front there. Now he's actually not very tall, he's quite small, so he's kind of dwarfed by some of his passengers here. But oh my god, like the dude's crazy. The speeds he's going around there, it almost feels like he's going to fall off, and I just don't know how you motorcyclists cope with this. Okay, now what you've just missed there, and you can't really see it, but I can see it from looking at the side. He's just done a wheelie, so he's got a passenger on the back. The speeds are that fast that you're actually only on the one wheel, and one wheel's up in the air. You guys are nuts! Seriously, you have lost your brain cells. No wonder you guys play Boom Beach and Clash of Clans. I'm so glad that I never chose these kind of, or this kind of activity anyway. Still, it is enjoyable to watch this, and in some ways I do wish I had more courage when it comes to sitting on the back of a bike. But I'm the kind of person who enjoys spectator sports. I like to watch these kind of races, and I love watching motorbike races. I love watching NASCAR. I love watching Formula 1. It's enjoyable. But I'm not the kind of person, as you could probably already guess by now, that feels comfortable sitting in the back of a car, being driven around at excessive speeds, or sitting on the back of a bike doing the same kind of thing, especially when my body's so close to the ground. Now in a minute you're actually going to get a better glimpse of the track. We're going to change to the BMWs. Now the BMWs you will see zooming around the track will give you images from different positions. There will be one that faces to the rear, and then there will be one that faces to the front. Now enjoy as you watch the videos, because the guys are kind of racing each other around the track. Now, because I was more concerned about crashing my car and causing a lot of damage, okay, I kind of drove around like my mother does on her electric vehicle, very carefully, very slowly. And the only time I actually did put my foot down, I end up going into the sandpit on a really tricky corner. Now, the NASCAR driver, the motorbike rider, they made it seem so easy going around these corners, but when you're actually driving at excessive speeds, and then you come up to these approaches, and then you think, okay, I need to slow down, and you try to change gears, it just, oh my god, the car's not responding, and then straight into the sandpit. Now, thankfully, okay, I did what I was told to do, put the clutch down and then just let it coast into the sandpit, no problems. But in the video, you will actually see one car that was driven by my friend that actually went past the sandpit, and oh my god, was it a spectacular crash. I actually felt quite sorry for him afterwards, and he was actually really concerned that he would have to pay for the damage. And to a certain point, that's what we all believed. Now, thankfully, the actual car company that was providing all the vehicles said that the cost would be covered. So in the end, he was really lucky, and there was a lot of relief shown on his face, and I'm kind of happy for him that he didn't have to pay. Right, that's enough of me talking about the event itself. Let's get on to the BMWs and see what it's like going around the track. So thank you very much, Mr. Motorbike Rider. You looked good zooming around that track, but I want to change vehicles now. Right, and we're off. Now, this camera's actually facing to the front, and it's on top of one of the cars. Now, again, I'm not driving this one. It's been driven by one of my friends, and he's going around the track. So you can now see what it's like. So we're approaching down the straight here. We've already been around the track a few times, so we've got a rough idea on what it's like. Or at least some of us have. And he's coming up to the first bend, and he takes that corner really smoothly. Just look at the way he glides around there. Now, did anybody go off in this corner? No one went off in this corner, but maybe a little bit further around here, just in this location, someone did spin off later. But they were able to recover quite nicely, reverse back out and get going again. Did anyone go off in this corner? Yes, again, someone went off in this corner. You can see some of the skid marks actually on the road. Now, which cars they were from, I don't know. But this track has a lot of different vehicles going around it. Now, today you've seen the NASCAR, you've seen the motorbikes, and you're also now seeing a BMW just cruising around and following the actual track itself as this driver gets comfortable. But on other days, they actually race lorries here as well, or sorry, for the American speakers, trucks. Now, that would have been awesome. I wish we could have tested some of those, or at least been driving around in one of those trucks, but that's not to be. Now, as we're driving around here, you can see how beautiful this day is. Just look at that sky. The sun's shining, which is a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling here. Okay, my friend's just been overtaken by another driver, so obviously that person is more comfortable at the moment. Now, actually, there's something wrong with this car. I think the actual clutch itself was playing up and the driver was having issues changing gear. So this car would need to come off a little bit later and would be replaced. In fact, he's going to pull over in a minute and basically talk to one of the guys that owns the vehicles and then decide what he's going to do. But in the meantime, let's just keep cruising around nice and slowly as you look at this track. And it looks very simple, doesn't it? You've seen the two drivers zooming around. Now you're seeing someone taking it slow and steady. Okay, the sun's shining in your face here, but it's not much of an issue. You're moving around at a very graceful speed. Now, officially you're supposed to take that corner there, but he's going to take this other one and let the other cars that are coming up behind him go past. Like I said, he does have a few issues with the clutch at the moment. So he's pulling off now into the side. Now, the rest of us are actually up on the bank at the moment, and we're watching this and we're wondering, why is he pulling over? So at this moment in time, we don't know what's going on or what the issue is. Okay, now he's kind of sorted himself out. He realizes now that he needs to get off the track. You can see the other cars going past on the inside there, which is on the actual race lane itself. He's staying over on the left hand side because he's actually going to go off the track and leave in a minute. And to leave, you have to go straight down this track here, and then basically there's a path that you follow round to the left hand side, and it takes you all the way back round the back, and you'll see that image in a minute. In the meantime, all the other cars are going to keep going past, and they will zoom off round the track following the path that you saw him doing earlier. Now, the position he's in at the moment is basically waiting for one of the staff to come down and talk to him. Now, he's spoken to them, he's got back in his car, and they've told him to bring the car in and they will have a look at it, and maybe change the car and give him another one so he can get back on the track. Now, all of the other drivers are going around at least 3 times as they're warming themselves up and getting used to driving these cars. So even though he will come off the track now after going around once, the other cars have been going around 2 or 3 times in the time that he's taken to do this. So unluckily, he won't get to fill the whole track at excessive speeds, which is a bit of a shame because he's actually quite a good driver. Right, now we're coming into the exit part of the racetrack, and I actually quite liked this part of the road. It was actually very scenic and quite beautiful, and as you're about to see, it looks wonderful. Kind of reminds me of the Heyday game as you're driving down the road to the farmhouse, and you're expecting to just come up to the farmhouse just in the distance here. Now in this case that's not quite the same, even though when we were driving to this location, oh my god, some of the farms that we passed were absolutely beautiful. Nice red buildings, and I can actually see where the ideas, or some of the ideas for the buildings in the game came from. This large open space with trees scattered here and there, maybe the odd rock formation as well. It all comes from basically the countryside in Finland. So now we know where they get their concept design from. It's not just the engineers and the designers that come up with these things. Right, now this is one of the stands that we're passing here, and we're coming over the top of the hill and now on the way down into the back area of the actual racetrack itself. In this area you've got your toilets, you've got your garage for repairing, there's some emergency vehicles. When we arrived here earlier there were lots of motorcyclists and other race car drivers as well. We basically now have this whole place to ourselves. And he's about to pull his car over, and then at some stage the guys that are waiting off to the left hand side in the building will come and talk to him. All those ones you see standing there, that's us lot, and we're just watching the racers as they go around the track now, and we're talking about what's going on. A thoroughly enjoyable day. Right, the driver's got out, and as you can see, he doesn't look too pleased because he's got a few issues. So we're about to find out now. Okay, these are the other cars. They've all pulled in behind, and now the camera's on the vehicle and it's facing to the rear. We've actually changed vehicle as well, so the camera that you're looking at now is not on the one that was broken. It's been changed to a different vehicle, so when it goes around the racetrack this time, it's going to be facing a different direction. And they're off. So here we go. He's pulling up to the start of the racetrack line. Now, one reason why I wanted to show you this part of the video is just so you can actually see if any of the drivers catch him up later and overtake him. Because it's actually quite interesting to have a car zooming up behind you and then try to take you out. And he's coming down the lane and you can see the stand being left behind. Now, you've seen the frontward view. Now here you're seeing the backward view. And in a second he's going to take that corner, and there we go. He skids around it quite nicely. Now, will he stay on the road, I wonder? Actually, looking at it from behind is much more interesting in some ways than actually facing the front of the vehicle. I wonder if we can actually get cameras that give a forward and rearward view sometimes for the races that we watch on TV. I know as spectators we get to see a lot of the images from the distance, but up close like this is quite good. Now you've just seen him overtake one person and he's left them standing. So the driver of this car is actually zooming around very fast. Now I actually wonder, was that me he overtook? Oh, I have to check later and find out. Oh, and he skids around that corner. And that corner there is one of the bad ones. You can see the white car that was just sitting there in the center. That's one of the safety vehicles. And when we all come off the track, he takes his sweet time getting out and coming over to us. And he's not in a rush at all, which I did notice as I watched him walk to the rear of my car before he told me to get back on the racetrack. But this driver's motoring it. He's gunning that engine. He's zooming down the lane. And doesn't it feel spectacular to see it in reverse? I wonder, should I actually play this video backwards? That could be quite cool to look at as well. Isn't he so graceful? Now this is the right way he's taking this time, and he's coming down the stretch again, and he's zooming past the stand, and there we are, just watching him one more time. Now, will he be able to catch anybody else up that's on the racetrack? Will he be passing anybody else, I wonder? Will any of the other drivers actually catch him up and overtake him? Now, the way that he's going around at the moment, I very much doubt that anyone take him. Oh, look, someone spun out there, and I wonder who that was. Either way, he just got past. Now, will this driver do something bad, I wonder? Is he going to go off into the trees and the bushes as well? We'll have to wait and see. Either way, he's doing quite nicely at the moment. And I do love that view. When you're driving, okay, the sun does get in a bit in your face. But when you're actually watching, it looks quite nice. Now, actually, he didn't take so many seconds going around that track, did he? Considering I'm not actually cutting any of this, he's doing quite nicely. How many of you have actually raced cars like this? Is this something that you would enjoy doing if you ever went to Finland? I would really recommend this as a cool activity. And in some ways, I'm really glad that Supercell organised it for us, considering that many of the YouTubers that were there are kind of like boy racers in some ways. Except for me, I'm just an old codger that's not so comfortable racing these things around. Maybe they should have given me a bicycle, that probably would have been better. And there he goes. He's overtaking one and he's taking two. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Now, will they be able to keep up with him, I wonder? Will they feel we're not having this and they're going to try and catch up? Let's see if they have the gumption to put... Oh, and that car's still off the road there. Oh my God, why is he still sitting there? Maybe he's done something to the engine. I know we did see a big black cloud of smoke, so you never know. Or maybe he's just waiting for the safety vehicle to tell him, get back on the road and it's safe to reverse out. I must admit, with us guys zooming around the track, it's not really easy or that comfortable for you to be able to reverse back onto the track if you don't know what's coming. Now, this image you're looking at the moment, you'll notice there are no cars up there on the bank. Later, pay attention to that area, because the crash that happened that wrecked the car was in that location. So it does look quite spectacular. Well, he's taking his corners really well. Wish I could see his speedometer. I'd love to know how fast he's going. When you're watching a driver do it, it seems so simple. But when you're actually in the car and you're looking at these corners as you're going around, trying to get the right lay of the track, it feels really uncomfortable in some aspects. I guess these guys are more used to playing video games and racing cars around more than I am. Okay, looks like he's on his final lap now around, and I wonder if that car is still stuck in the side. We'll have to wait and see in a moment. Aha, it's gone. And there's the recovery vehicle just putting back onto the road, and or should I say the quad, and the other car is probably in front somewhere. So I wonder if he will try to overtake him. That could be interesting to see. on, go for it. See if you can take him. I so love that sky. It's beautiful. We had some really wonderful days. Waking up in the morning, it's beautiful outside. Going to bed at night, and it's still beautiful outside. I must admit though, when we did get back from this day's activities, it was quite late. And then after, we did have dinner at a really nice restaurant. And again, I ate some wonderful food. By the time we finished, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was the first time I actually saw a black sky. So usually when I went to bed, it was kind of light outside still, even though it's in the evening. But that time it was actually dark, and I went, oh my god, a black sky. My first time in Helsinki to see it. And I forgot to take some photos. I don't believe it. That would have been a good one for my records. Now, is he going to do it one more time, or is he coming off the track? And he's coming off the track. So you're going to see the direction he has to go to leave now. So here we go, we're going straight down, and in a second he will spin it around that corner. Now, will he take it slow and steady, because there is a speed limit, or is he going to gun it as well, I wonder? And he even takes this corner quite fast. But he's slowly a little bit. Nope, he's putting his foot down. I do believe that this driver is breaking the speed limit. I think he's in a hurry to have his cup of tea. Or is it a coffee, I wonder? I will say one thing. We did have beer, but we did not drink any beer until after all the races were over and done with. So no one drank any alcohol on this day at all. We were all asked if we had been drinking, and we all said no, because no one had tasted or sampled anything. I would recommend not to drink and drive. Not after some of the accidents I saw on this track anyway. Now, one thing that was interesting, while we were actually racing around the track, there was this other car being driven by another local guy. He was racing around the track as well. And oh my god, was he good. The way he took some of those corners and just went for it was fantastic. Right, okay, the other cars have pulled in now, so I've jumped ahead slightly. Now, I'm going to leave this part of the video in because it's going to be quite interesting. Now, that quad you see there is the emergency vehicle, and this car is off, but who is the driver, I wonder? Now, he's zooming down. Is it the same person or is it a different person? In this case, it's a different driver, but something special is going to happen, and I really wanted to show you this. You're going to like this a lot. Now he's taking it nice and steady down the lane. Okay, nice little good turn into the corner there. Nice lines. Okay. How's he doing? Yep, okay, he's not gunning it too much. He's just sampling the road. Okay, he's put his foot down a little bit, but not as fast as the first driver. Okay, I think he's becoming more comfortable here. Now, it's not bad for his first time driving this car, I do believe. Oh, he's coming down the challenging stretch, and in a minute he will come to the difficult area. That corner that we all hate so much. Will he be okay, I wonder? I really hope so. He's put his foot down and he's going for it. Oh, yes. And you can just see the road going by there. And he takes the corner. And he's still going, and he's going, and he's up into the tree stumps. And there goes the next car behind him. Now, this is the car that went too far up and got broke. As you can see, this is the direction he came. He wasn't really going excessively. Literally, just as he came round the corner, he lost it. Okay, and basically the car just went up. So he's not really done anything wrong here. But because of where he's ended up, now if you look just behind the car there, you can see one of the tree stumps. Now if he'd stopped in the sand pit, he probably would have been okay. But because the car's actually gone up that bump and then bounced over the stumps, it's kind of damaged the car. And you can see all of the other vehicles going around. In fact, my colleague just behind him went into the sand pit as well. So he's not the only person that's having issues on this corner. And we were advised that this corner was the dangerous one. Now, from this position, this is one reason why I lifted up, you can actually see the other cars coming around the corner as well. And in some ways, I'm kind of glad no one else went off here. Now, in the emergency vehicle just off to the left there by the trees, the guy sitting there, he's probably calling it in and saying, hey, we've got a car up in the tree stumps. And he's now requesting a vehicle maybe to come out and to pull him out. As you can see, he's in quite a hurry to run on over to make sure the driver is okay and there's no problems. And once he actually gets out of his car, I'm sure he will amble on over. Okay, there he is. He's getting out of his car now. Now, in some ways, I can understand his apprehension about moving off too quickly. He's got these other cars coming around the corner quite fast. I would certainly not want to be run over by one of these drivers, especially when there's no GoPro on the front to record it. Okay, right, now you've just seen the crash there, but we're about to do something special. That car's been towed off, and here we go with one of the races. Now, everybody's all lined up. We've got 4 cars on the track. Okay, the safety vehicle is just pulling back, and in a minute, all 4 of these cars will race round the track together. Now, I did not do this. I actually dropped out of this activity because I did not feel comfortable racing anyone else around the track in this situation, especially considering the fact that I don't want to cause any crashes or I don't want to cause any damage. I don't mind risking my own life, but no one else. And here they go, and they're off. Now, we all knew this was going to be a close race. The first 2 were strong drivers, and the second 2 were also strong. But who is going to be the one across the finishing line? Will we watch all 4 cars as they amble on down the track with 3 following up behind this one here all of the way? Or will he get taken, I wonder? Now, these guys are the ones who are speedy. They know how to drive their cars. They have lots of experience, and they're going. Oh, look at that spin there. Wasn't that good? And he almost lost it. That was a good recovery. Now, I do believe that second driver is Tim. He actually works for Supercell, and he knows how to drive one of these cars. The car that we're driving on now is driven by a Galadon, and he also knows how to drive a car. Ooh, and that was that tricky corner, and you can still see the car up in the tree stumps there. Oh, and he's being taken on the inside. Oh my God, and he's lost it. So Tim has taken the lead from Galadon. And is he going to be happy about it? I don't know. Will he be able to recover that lead? We won't know until we get to the end of the race. Now, I do wish that we had the GoPro camera facing frontward as well. But we've got 2 cars behind. Now, can they catch up and take him as well? Or do they not have enough speed? Actually, sorry, no, there are 3 cars. This was a 5-car race, this one. So the safety vehicle dropped out and didn't follow on. And all 4 cars have come round, and there goes the 5th car. Yep, the gap is just too great. There's no way 3rd and 4th place can catch up. So we're looking at a race between 1st and 2nd as they go down the race course. 2nd or 3rd and 4th position are coming up behind, but they are too far behind to catch up. Will they be able to put their foot down? I wonder. Will they maintain their positions from each other? Who knows? Again, we'll have to wait and see. Now, I kind of love this position now. I can see the 2 cars behind racing each other. So in some ways, it's much better than actually looking forward and watching 1 car in front. I do wish, though, that I could zoom in with this GoPro and actually watch these 2 racers as they come down the track behind this 2nd place car. I think that would be quite awesome. And they take that corner smoothly, no one goes off. Now that yellow vehicle you've just seen there is one of the emergency vehicles. It's finally driven all the way down the back, and it's going to go up onto the bank and tow him off because he's just too far to drive back down. Plus the front of the car is at an angle it shouldn't be. Right, now, why did he lose his place? Now, we actually found out afterwards that basically he braked too soon and he shouldn't have done so. Now, because of that, this then allowed Tim to actually overtake him and leave him standing just after coming around that corner. Now, these two drivers are still putting their foot down. Third and fourth place are nowhere behind now. You can't even see them. They are so far behind. Have they crashed? Who knows? We will have to wait and see. What's happening with fifth place? Again, no one knows. All that really matters now is that we're getting a nice view of the racetrack and there's nobody there. Will we be able to overtake the first position? I doubt it. I do believe that first place will stay with Tim, and he's going to maintain that lead all the way to the finishing line. Look at that sun. Doesn't it look beautiful? It's actually a wonderful picture, that. Oh, someone's gone off there. I wonder who that was. Is that the first place driver? Or is it third, fourth, or fifth, I wonder? Oh my God, someone crashed. Now, I'm not sure who that was, but I bet they are gutted because they've now lost their prime position wherever they were. So, is it the third place driver? Is it the fourth? Is it the fifth? Who knows? We will have to wait and see when we look at the scoreboards. Now, for the winning drivers, they actually got some nice trophies. And there were two lots of trophies to be given. So there was a trophy for the fastest female driver. And there was only one young lady racing the whole day. So guess what? She came first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth position. No one could beat her. She couldn't even beat herself. And congratulations to you. Now, there were a lot of us guys racing, but there can only be 3 winners, and they did get their trophies. But what about the rest of us? What did we get, I wonder? Did we just get an empty pat on the back? Was it a shaken hand, or did we get something special? Now, we actually got sunglasses, and they were actually quite cool. So I got myself a nice pair of black racing glasses. So thank you very much to the racing company. They were really nice. And I've actually given them to my eldest son, who thinks they're quite cool. Now I must admit, I should get a photo of him wearing them, and then maybe show you guys what it looks like later. But he's very camera shy like myself, so that's probably not going to happen. Now, we're actually on the last part of the race. Will he be able to grab that first place position back from Tim, I wonder? I don't think so, because we're coming into the last stretch now. Just around this corner, and that's it. It's done, it's dusted. There are no more cars off the track. So I do believe that this vehicle will be second place. And how do we know that? Well, I reckon we might see someone waving the checkered flag. So get ready to watch out for the person just off to the right hand side. And there he goes. He's waving the checkered flag. So it's over and it's done with. So now the car will come back to the finishing point, and the first place driver will rub it into the second place driver whose vehicle we're on now and say, "Heh, I beat you." And then we will wait for third and fourth place and then see how they fared. Now, for those of us who are actually sitting back at the actual building itself, we could watch these drivers go around and look at their speeds as they're doing each individual lap. And it's actually quite interesting to see. Now, the race organisers did a wonderful job. They provided a nice NASCAR for us to go around in, Motorbike as well. They've got these wonderful BMWs that we could race. So I really did appreciate their service. They provided a good amount of uniforms and good food as well. So thank you very much to both Supercell and the racing company for doing this. It was really appreciated. I really enjoyed my day, and that's it. So I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.